Chelsea have signed Mykhailo Mudryk, the Ukrainian dribbly boy, the one that Arsenal really wanted, but Chelsea came in and they gazumped him with a big transfer fee, which was actually the same as the Arsenal transfer fee. But if you want to know how that works, then go and read Adam Cratton's article in The Athletic. It's very good. And you find out how that actually worked. What I'm going to tell you, or try to, is what kind of player Mudryk is, and why I think he'll work really well at Chelsea, and what he can improve on, all these sorts of things. So, we know 100% Mykhailo Mudryk is a left winger. That's where he plays. For Shakhtar, he either plays as a left midfielder in a 4-1-4-1, so it looks more like that. We play on the left side here, but more often than not, he's a left winger in a 4-2-3-1. You can also play as a second striker, as he has done before for Shakhtar. And yeah, I've seen this guy play a few times. He plays against teams like Celtic, Real Madrid, Scotland. I've seen him play. He's really, really good at running past people and scaring them with his pure speed and acceleration. That's the thing he's best at. He's incredibly quick, but he combines that acceleration and speed with a really high technical ability, really good vision to see where things are, and also he's completely two-footed, so you don't know which way he's going to go. And it'll help Chelsea a lot, because like where you might have some players who can, when players take people on, they'll often do it in a really smooth kind of like S-bend, you know, they'll move and smoothly go past players, drop a shoulder or something like that. But something that Mudryk does that I really like is that he runs in almost like he's on a D-pad. So whereas like most dribblers would go and be smooth in and out, this guy sort of runs really quick, then changes direction, then again. And because he's completely two-footed, players don't know how to set up for him. They don't want to lead him wide, because if they lead him wide, if you show him wide towards the touchline, he'll just sprint past you and then go to the touchline and go straight past you here. But if you show him inside, well, he likes doing that, and he runs regularly through groups of players. There's loads of examples of him doing it, where he just runs between players like a short, sharp burst, bow, bow, and he's through them because he's so quick. His technical close control is really good. But like, whereas some players, like if you think of Eden Hazard, right? So remember he used to play for Chelsea on the left. Really close control dribbling, not explosive. He'd be able to dribble past players in really small areas. Mudryk kind of goes past you, but leaves like smoke and fire behind. Just like launches through like a cartoon, really quick, really, really useful. And it'll create space for other Chelsea players because he's so fast and so dangerous with it. A bit like Kvicia Kvaratskhelia at Napoli. Teams start trying to double up and triple up on him to stop him being so lethal on the swing. So what you might see against, well, teams like Liverpool, for example, who is the first game I think Mudryk might start, is that you'll play against a player like Alexander-Arnold. Now, Liverpool will obviously be worried about that because he's not he's getting better at 1v1, but he regularly is caught out of position and exposed because Salah doesn't come back. So what you'll find is Mudryk versus Alexander-Arnold, that'll be bad. So you'll pull Jordan Henderson over, maybe another centre-back will come over to try and make sure he just can't get through or past, something to try and stop him. But by doing that, of course, you naturally create a gap between the centre-backs, or you create a gap in midfield because other players are not in that position to deal with it. And that means that players like Mount can go into the space, or Havertz can creep into the space. Sterling can then appear at the back post. Because naturally, if you cause an overload in this sort of side here, or cause a threat, players are dragged over, and that leaves someone spare on the opposite side. So if you're keeping wingers really wide, someone like Sterling can just pop in at the back post. And if Mudryk is able to get out with this little gap and they manage to beat the three players, he is really good with either foot, completely two-footed. So you can cross in on the outside on his left foot, or you can cross in with a lovely inside foot on his right. And this option makes him incredibly hard to defend against, but he has real, actual output. He's got 7 goals and 7 assists for Shakhtar in the league this season so far. He got 2 assists in the Champions League, I think, against Real Madrid. No, it's RB Leipzig. He got a standing ovation. Amazing player. He was excellent against Real Madrid and Celtic in the Champions League this season. He's going to be excellent for Chelsea. And he's going to play for them, definitely, on this left wing. And we can see from his Smarter Scout chart, for example, that his carry and dribble volume is high because he likes to run with the ball. That's what he does. He makes things happen with the ball. Really, really good at that. Progressive passing. This is one of his weaknesses. I'll touch on this in a second as well. In that, like, he sees the pass. He has the vision to see a pass, and he'll try little clever passes through, but his execution isn't always perfect. He overhits passes sometimes, through balls, and he often plays passes inside the pitch that are kind of blind, or his first touch isn't great for playing in little rondos, but he's still good at it. Then high shot creation, high defensive work rate. So he works really hard off the ball, really, really good at carrying and dribbling with the ball. Doesn't get linked up in the play much. This is another thing. He often stays on the periphery of games and then comes to life when he gets the ball on that left side to then come inside or go outside with it. And this is one of the things you might see more of in Chelsea, is that will go up a little bit because you'll get more involved in build-up play potentially, he drops deeper. But basically he makes things happen, tries to win the ball back, goes like that. And we can see that when he receives the ball, he receives it always on this left side. These are Chelsea's current and incoming forwards in Champions League since 21-22 and where they receive the ball. Mudryk almost always in that bright left side there. Now you see the other players they've got. That's kind of where Sterling plays. It's where Pulisic has been playing for Graham Potter, but under Tuchel he was playing on either side. So what you see is Mudryk very much a left, and then players like Mason Mount and Christopher Nkunku, they can play all around, very interchangeable. And that's very useful because Graham Potter definitely wants to have players who can play in similar positions so they can swap and rotate and cause problems for opposition teams. One of the things, or one of the problems that Chelsea have is that they keep the ball, they are very patient with it, but that often leads to being predictable in possession, so either in build-up or in the final third. So you can see this is Chelsea compared to other Premier League teams this season so far. Tuchel was in charge for about 6 of them, I think, so there's a small bit of him in there. What you see is they have lots of possession, the third most in the league this season, very few or none long passes, not many shots, so that implies they're not getting the ball into the positions they need to quickly enough to get the shots away. Or that they're taking shots in specific positions, which then requires another kind of tactical thing in the final third to get the ball into the positions to shoot. What you see is they win the ball back a lot, PPTA, or they try and win the ball back a lot here, but their attack speed is very slow. So they have lots of possession, but they're quite slow with it. And what you want is maybe to be slow and methodical in the build-up phase, perhaps, and then really come to life in the final third, and that's where Mudryk will come into his own. That's where you'll see him. So if you think about like how Chelsea then want to build up play, and they've been struggling with that this season because teams are able to deal with them, lots of injury troubles, of course. But when they get to the final third, that's where they need to have a bit more impact, a bit more directness. Now, a lot of Potter's teams, or Brighton specifically in the past, what they like to do is create diamonds on the pitch. And this is something that we'll see with better players, you can have more fun. So if Mudryk is the wide left, as he will be almost all the time, you might get Cucurella playing at left back, maybe Ben Chilwell will push up to be the bottom of the diamond. Then you've got maybe Havertz over here at the tip of the diamond, and then Kovacic here. So you see, this is your lovely diamond shape created between these players here. And then what that means is that someone like Mason Mount can pull over to join in, so you create something like a 5v3, but teams will naturally want to then defend a bit deeper and deal with that, so they'll pull players across, maybe to come in here, so you get a 5v4, it's an overload. And again, just like the example of just having those 3 players on the side from earlier, it's going to leave space for other players in other positions, because then when you have an overload on the side, you can easily switch the ball to someone else running in from here, whether Sterling or Nkunku or Ziyech or whoever's gone to that sort of side. This is the kind of thing. But the thing that's interesting with Mudryk is that if he is then in his position, easily he can swap and play with Kovacic, can drop out here or swap with Mount. Wherever he gets the ball, he can then go any way. He can try and dribble out to the space really quickly to then offer the cross. He can then just burst through players, create another like line-breaking run to be able to then shoot, or just play someone in, sees the pass, and you've got all these options. He's going to make Chelsea so much better in the final third if he adapts really quickly. The thing that he needs to work on, or that we'll maybe see from time to time he can get better at, is his short passing. So when Shakhtar build up, occasionally he can be caught on the ball. There's an example, well, there's a really good video actually on YouTube by a guy called Pythagoras and Boots. It's a really good video. He's got some examples of Mudryk's short passing, letting him down occasionally, but it's something you work on in training. That's just technique, something you can do again and again and again, repetition-wise, and get better at. There's an example of it, is exactly what I mean. This is Celtic versus Shakhtar. Mudryk comes off the left, comes inside, chased by a player, and then he tries to play this ball across here. It's dangerous. You can obviously see that this lad here can step in and win the ball if he wants to. The safe pass is back here. The clever pass is through to this guy here. But he plays it across. The execution isn't good, and it's intercepted. And there's loads of examples of him playing against different teams, both in the Ukrainian league and also in the Champions League, where when it's played a short pass to him, his accuracy isn't the best, and it gives possession away, or it forces a teammate to have to make a wider run than they want to get on the ball. Easily trainable, you can get better at that, that's no problem. What you will see from him for Chelsea especially, that we're saying, is he makes things happen with the ball. He makes teams double up on you, pull players out of spaces that you need to have. You imagine players like Alan St-Maximin and Adama Traore, like really, really explosive players, like really quick, very dribbly, but they lack output. This guy has 7 goals, 7 assists, 12 games in the league for Shakhtar this season, and he's produced in the Champions League as well. And we can see it at like the highest level against Real Madrid. Here he is, surrounded. The ball's dropped down, really hard to control, and Mudryk over here takes the ball down, is then surrounded, squeezed in, but is able, just through like vision, speed, technique, close control, able to dribble a way out of two of them, then burst through to then make this scenario here. Now, what you got something going on here. The ball's here with this player. Mudryk can just sprint in behind, and none of these Real Madrid players will get close to him. He's that fast. He'll just sprint in behind through here, which causes this defender to panic, knowing that if Mudryk does go, he's going to have to try and cut that off. If he steps across to cut off that run, he leaves this striker in more space behind him, which makes either the through ball go in here to play this ball in, or through here to play this ball in, just causing them loads of panic. And this is the thing that Mudryk can do that other players can't. Like Christian Pulisic is decent on the ball, he can control it, but he's not going to burst away through all those players and suddenly turn the jets on, or he's not going to see a pass. He lacks the vision of someone like Mudryk. Other players will play through the middle more. This guy can do it all. It's a really clever signing from Chelsea. Arsenal really wanted him for a reason. He's just going to make them better. He's a really good player, and if you liked what I said about him, then please subscribe to our channel. That would be lovely. And like the video. I think that does good things to it, I think. Other YouTubers say it does. It must do. Cheers, bye!
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big clubs. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.